Hey guys, very exciting last Epoch news. The developer team has introduced a new mechanic coming to the game's future, Endgame factions. But first, let me address item trading as it pertains to the multiplayer Point 9 release coming on March 9th, 2023. The only form of item trading will be item gifting, meaning that if you're playing with a group of friends or guildies, any items that fall within the zone you're all playing in can be gifted amongst one another. The problem is that if you're playing at a different time as a friend, or if your friend is in a different zone, if you find an item in a different zone, you cannot trade that item to one of your friends. No other trading was to exist within the game. This disappointed a lot of us and a lot of people who, number one, like to craft items for profit, number two, like following a build and want a convenient way to obtain items by buying them, or number three, need one last important item for their build and just can't find it by farming, who would in this case be willing to spend a lot to trade for that one final piece or two for their build. Now, item gifting is to stay, but with an additional change coming in mind, resonances. This is an interesting idea for people who prefer to farm for their own gear, but want to help their friends out with gear they need as a party or a guild. This new item will fall randomly at times when you're playing in a party. Resonances will only fall if you've been playing and partied together for some kind of unspecified duration of time. Let's say me and Viper are running together and all the way through to chapter 9, and suddenly a resonance falls to me, applying to Viper. I would hold this resonance as an orb item, and later, let's say I'm playing solo, and I find a scepter that would work perfect for his build, but not my bow build. I can now use this resonance and apply it to that item, allowing it to be gifted over to him despite the fact the item did not fall while we were in the same area at the same time. It's basically a means to stop RMT, real money trading, or botting. It's not a terrible idea. The much more exciting news to me is the idea of the endgame factions. Somewhere along the storyline, we're going to encounter denizens of two factions, the Merchants Guild and the Circle of Fortune. It reminds me of the Expedition denizens we encounter in PoE. We can then ally with one faction or the other. The Merchants Guild maintains regular gameplay drop rate, but allows us access to the Trading Bazaar where we can buy or sell our items instantly. It won't require the seller to be online like in PoE. The seller will have put it up in the marketplace already, and the transaction will be instant. However, and this is quite interesting, our ability to trade will vary based on our rank within the Merchants Guild. You can trade white, blue, or yellow items right away, but set items unlock at rank 2, orange uniques at rank 4, and so long as they aren't legendary, and you get further rewards like extra trade slots at rank 6. As you gain rank, you gain favor, which is used to participate in the transaction. Even higher ranks will allow all items to be traded. It's a fascinating idea, I'd say. Very much sets the game apart from Diablo and PoE series. Which is what EHG is going for. They want just enough similar to be a genre that appeals to PoE and Diablo players, but with a unique skill leveling tree, with a unique time traveling storyline, and a unique way to work on your league status to become one of the few and the proud max ranked Merchants Guild faction members who can trade all items, including idols, including legendary items. With enough rank, all items will be tradable, but newer players or bots are deferred from breaking the market in this case. Now, the other faction is the Circle of Fortune, which will not allow any, quote, professional trading, only the item gifting system among friends. But it comes with a huge benefit. As you gain rank, it helps your drop rarity and your drop quantity, helps your crafting outcomes, increases chance to get legendary items, and even allows for prophecies to farm for specific item types. For the solo self-founder, you now have a way to play with your friends or guildies, but avoid interacting with the trade market, or depending on a free market, on a trade market, I should say, to get all your gear. It's like getting yourself Magic Find, but targeted Magic Find. None of the items found while in this faction can ever be traded, only gifted. And one key thing about gifting, gifted items can never be traded, even if you join the Merchants Guild. However, that said, you can switch between these factions at any time, apparently. But obviously, switching from the Circle of Fortune to the Merchants Guild, all of the gear you're currently wearing will become unequipable. All of the Circle of Fortune items are non-tradable, they're non-exchangeable. All in all, it's a genius idea, I'd say. Some of you watching with a hardline PoE-style free market aspirations, you may look at this and think it looks like a pain in the ass. But I'm pumped up about the idea of the two-faction system. I was very excited to read about it. Remember, Last Epoch is not PoE and should not be an exact copy of it, despite PoE being such a fantastic ARPG. Last Epoch should go out on its own tangent. I respect that the developers have listened to the pro traders like myself, introduced a brilliant solution, in my opinion, to make all the parties overall happy. Unfortunately, something like this couldn't be developed on short notice, so we won't see factions until 1.0 full release, more than likely. We're not going to see them in 0.9. They did, however, hint at the fact that the resonances I mentioned may be updated in a patch release prior to the 1.0 full release.